Our editorial contributor Karen Maughan joins us live from Pretoria. Karen, a very good morning to you. Busisiwe Mkhwebane acted outside of her authority in the Bosasa matter. That is what President Cyril Ramaphosa has got to say. And of course, today's court action is relating to Ivan Pillay and the early retirement. What can be expected today? Because it was supposed to resume on Tuesday, and what's expected today?
Well, we have found out in the last few minutes that, in fact, a judge, we understand, has been assigned to this matter. It will be heard in court today, those arguments really about the president's obligation to uphold the remedial action of the public protector and the circumstances in which it is not legally appropriate or constitutional for him to do so. He's essentially arguing that, he provided the public protector with the implementation plan of the action he would potentially take against Maughan within the 30-day deadline that she asked him to provide it, and that this amounted to him complying with the public protector's remedial action. In that implementation report, of course, he said that it would be unreasonable for him to take action against Maughan, given that he was taking the Pillay report on review. Of course, the big difference between this case and the SARS Rogue Unit case is that Maughan, in the SARS Rogue Unit matter, did get an interdict staying the remedial action of the public protector. In this matter, the Pillay matter, he did not do so. And Mkhwebane arguing that what the president is trying to do here is essentially intervene in a situation where the minister failed to take the appropriate legal action, and the minister is inappropriately involving himself in this case. And that's what this court is really going to need to determine. But of course, the stakes very high. This application being decided just within less than 24 hours of the president filing an application to review the Bosasa report, which is not replete with the kind of accusations of political motives, etc., that have characterized Maughan's attack on Mkhwebane, but certainly raising serious concern about Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane's competence to do her job.
Ramaphosa has also urged the public protector to back down. And we know, Karen, just looking at this week and last week, that court matters for the public protector haven't gone too well. In this instance, just really assessing what the outcome could be, how's it looking for the public protector?
I mean, the interesting point with this is this was not a case in which an interdict was obtained to stay the implementation of the remedial action. We know that the review launched by Maughan was launched 2 months ago, and the public protector really saying that he should have been the person to seek the interdict that the president is now seeking here today, and essentially suggesting in papers that are very politically loaded that the reason that he has chosen to involve himself in this matter is because, Pravin Gordhan is his political ally, and that there may be some kind of sinister motive behind his involvement in the case. The president, on the other hand, says the public protector has essentially accused him of failing to uphold or potentially violating the Constitution by not taking action against Maughan in circumstances where he says he believes it would be totally unreasonable to do so, because if the minister succeeds in this application, he will have taken and reprimanded or punished a minister who did not deserve that punishment and could open himself up to litigation. And he said he does not want to go to court. He described this application as incredibly unfortunate that he even had to bring it, but essentially saying he had no choice but to do so. This is a political minefield. At the heart of it, of course, this relationship between the president and the minister, and the attacks of Advocate Mkhwebane on that particular relationship. She has made it very clear that she regards Pravin Gordhan as someone who has fundamentally disrespected her office and is deeply contemptuous of her watchdog body within her watchdog aspect within the society. And so the battle lines have very much been drawn here. And I mean, the language of her application saying, essentially you've taken sides with the minister, that you've chosen the interests of one person over the interests of the Constitution, is a very serious accusation to make. So while this is a relatively simple matter that in the normal course of events could and should have been settled outside of a court process. It is now turning into a game of political warfare, and we expect some very, very strong language, strong arguments to be ventilated in court this morning.
Karen, and lastly, before we let you go, the political tensions that you mentioned between the Public Protector's office as well as all the other court matters that she's dealing with here, what does this essentially speak to when you look at the Public Protector's office's credibility and perhaps also looking at the impact that this is having on the Public Protector herself? I mean, the last court process that occurred, words like vague were used to describe the manner in which the Public Protector is looking into her work. How does this play out now for the Public Protector herself, her image and her office's credibility?
Well, in the last few weeks, the Public Protector has suffered a series of very, very damaging blows. Number one, the highest court in the land in a majority decision finding that she acted in bad faith and was dishonest in her Reserve Bank investigation into the bailout given to Bancorp in the 1990s and late 1980s, essentially saying that, you know, she had not displayed the kind of qualities that you expect a Chapter 9 institution to display. Very, very serious findings. She faces a potential further personal cost order in the Estina matter, given the outcome of the Constitutional Court's decision. She is also now, we hear, facing the possibility of an inquiry into her fitness to hold office next month in Parliament, in which the kind of rulings given by the Constitutional Court, given by the court behind me in the Estina matter, are going to be very, very much prominently featured. So in many respects, she is under siege. In a statement released in response to a report that HSBC had flagged a so-called suspicious payment of $5,000 to her account in June 2014 as potentially being linked in some respects to the Gupta empire. She came out very strongly and described in great detail how she believes civil society, the media, certain politicians who she doesn't name are literally hell-bent on undermining her because she is taking on politically powerful individuals and untouchables, as she puts it, within the South African political landscape. It's very clear that she believes that that untouchable is Pravin Gordhan, and it's very clear that she believes that President Ramaphosa has taken his side in this litigation. So this is an all-or-nothing game, given the level of rhetoric that we now see, given the kind of huge political anxieties about this matter. You know, she is in a very difficult position, and this court case will be obviously quite pivotal in determining the trajectory of what happens to her, both in her position and in the kind of matrix of public opinion and acceptance and respect for her office.
Thank you so much for that update. Let's leave it there. My colleague, editorial contributor Karen Maughan at the North Gauteng High Court, where President Cyril Ramaphosa and Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane will square off. And of course, we'll keep you posted as soon as those proceedings resume.